What's up, guys? It's Wiggle with Wiggles Outdoors, and today we're going to make a hobo. So I'm going to show you how to cook over a fire using just aluminum foil. It's pretty simple, but there's a little bit more to it than you know. And first off, we're getting our wood together. We've got a bunch of small little tinder wood over here. We're getting our tinder, kindling, stuff like that together. And basically our goal is just to get coals going. We don't want a big hot fire, so let's get some coals going and see how that goes. So I've gone ahead and I've put a very large amount of wood on here, and what I'm doing is basically I'm getting the fire very hot very quick. I'm burning down all the stuff I have all at once, so I'll have a lot of coals to work with. And now I'm just going to sit here and wait for this to burn, but I am going to go ahead and prepare the stuff for the hobo, so let's go check on that. So I have Erica here, my biologist assistant here. I have her cutting up onions, peppers, what else did we get? Onions, peppers, potatoes,
and meat.
Yep.
Yummy.
Now I'm going to cut my potatoes pretty small for this because, like I said, I want to kind of cook those a little bit better than I do the rest of the stuff. I want these to be a little crispy. And this is not the ideal knife to cut a potato with, so it might not hurt you to bring a fillet knife out here, honestly. Alright, so I'm going to go Paula Deen on this. I'm pretty much going to throw like a whole rack of butter in there. And then I'm going to cook my potatoes up separately from the rest of my stuff so I can cook a little better, because potatoes do take longer, obviously. So we'll go ahead and start putting that in there. That's probably enough potatoes for that one. And I'm just doing several different packages for my potatoes. And then I'll throw just a couple onions and peppers in there on top of it, and that's just to give it a little bit more flavor. And then we'll cook the rest of the onions and peppers by itself. But you just wrap it up, make a nice little ball out of it. And then what I'm going to do is I actually take another piece that's smaller and I put on top. It's also a good idea, always make sure the reflective side's on the outside and the other side's on the inside. This is your non-stick side of aluminum foil. But just wrap that around the top of it. That just keeps any juices from leaking out, keeps it all in there contained. And we have 3 potato balls so far, and I think probably do one more, and we'll start cooking the rest of it. So the fire hasn't burned down as much as I would like, but at this point in time there is coals, and I do have a couple steel grates here that I can use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the fire around just a little bit, not keep it on top. So I have a decent amount of coals there, and then I'm just going to kind of move it around to where I can put my grate on there, start cooking my potatoes, and then we'll worry about the rest of it later. But let's get these potatoes start cooking. So our goal basically is to keep the open flame from being underneath the grate right here. That will char it. So what I want to do is have all my coals right here, and I'll take my hand and I'll place over top of it for just a second. If you can feel a pretty hot heat, you know it's a good cooking fire. So we've got that, and then what I'll do is I'll start another fire on the side here. That way I can alternate coals out so these don't die out on me, and we'll just keep coals going. But we've got our grate there, so let's go ahead and stick these here. And you also want to get a couple sets of sticks or maybe tongs or something that you'll bring with you. And what that's for is that's to move these around on the fire, because you are going to want to flip these. Alright, I'm going to let those sit for about 10 minutes, then I'll flip them and let them sit for another 10 minutes, and we'll see how good they are from there. The peppers and onions and stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm only separating this into 2 different packages, and then after it's all done we'll worry about that later, what we're going to put it in. But for now we're just trying to get it cooked. So, and also if you have any like spare scraps or anything that hits the ground or anything left over that's food, it's a good idea to toss that in the fire and just let it burn. Because if you have that fresh smell, especially this beef sitting out here, you know, it's getting towards the end of August, and bears are going to start eating hardcore soon, and it's a good idea not to bring in critters, bears, coons, little things like that. They'll aggravate the heck out of you, and you just don't want that while you're out here. So it's a good idea to just get ready your scraps, make sure you don't have anything left over. So burn it, you know. And if you got trash, haul it out. Make sure you throw that stuff away. Salt this up just a little bit. We are salting a lot and buttering a lot, but how we cook here in America.
In the South.
Yeah, well, in the South, yeah. So let's get these out there. We'll wait for the potatoes to cook just a little bit longer, and then start cooking that stuff with it. So it's a good idea just to kind of run your hand over it and feel your hot spots, because your hot spots are going to cook quicker than the rest of it. So I know, like over here, I don't have as much heat as I do over here, so my goal is to shift the coals a little bit. So if I don't have as much heat over here, well, I'm going to replace some of the bigger pieces I have here with some of my smaller, hotter coals, and just kind of work it through that way. These campfires that you cook on, they do take a lot of work, but I mean, some of the best food you'll eat too. It's also a good idea to kind of watch what wood you use too, because the smoke obviously flavors your food a little bit. So don't use any kind of poisonous woods. Don't use laurel or anything like that. Use hickory or, you know, any kind of like resinous wood that's got a real good taste to it. So let's go ahead and get this up there. This is the finished product of it. Looks pretty good. She says it tastes good. So let's see how it tastes. Oh yeah. 5-star chef right here.
Sure.
I'm Gordon of the Woods.
Warden.
Yeah.
Wooden.
Warden Ramsey. Alright guys. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a great way to make a hobo out in the woods. There's all kinds of different things you can sample around with. You don't have to use beef. You can use pork or Spam, or I guess you could really use chicken. My only issue is any kind of meat you use, make sure you use something that has a lower temperature cook range on it. Beef, you know, it's only like 145, 155-ish, somewhere around there. I like mine a little bit more done than that, but I also know that if there's little pieces here and there that didn't cook thoroughly like the rest of it did, it's going to be better. Cooking in the woods is one of my favorite pastimes. Make sure to check out some other content I have on my channel. I have tons of great stuff on here. Other cooking videos for outdoors and all kinds of hiking, camping, all that good stuff. Peace out, guys.